Hey, hunting family, you are tuning into the Tracks and Tackle podcast, brought to you by Menser Outdoors.
What is up, hunting family? Welcome back to another episode of Tracks and Tackle, and it is that time of year again, the highly anticipated PA rifle opener for whitetail deer. For many of us, this isn't just another hunting season, it's a tradition. It's a time to connect with family, friends, and the great outdoors. And today, we're going to be diving into the stories, the preparation, and the memories that make up the PA opener so special. We'll be talking about our essential gear that we take out. We're going to explore why this season holds such a special place in the hearts of outdoorsmen across all of Pennsylvania. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or maybe a lucky piece of hunting gear, and let's kick things off. Hey there, hunting family. It's time to give a shout out to a company that's been keeping our communities moving since 1995. I'm talking about Interstate Garage Doors. For nearly 3 decades, Interstate Garage Doors has been the go-to choice for comprehensive garage door services in South Central PA, as well as the surrounding Hagerstown, Maryland, and Martinsburg, West Virginia areas. And get this, they're not just any company. They're veteran-owned and family-operated, with a proud history of serving both residential and commercial clients. Their professional technicians are the real deal, offering top-notch installations from industry-leading manufacturers and expert repairs for all garage door makes and models. From residential garage doors to overhead doors and openers, Interstate Garage Doors does it all. So whether you're a hardworking contractor building homes or a homeowner looking for service or just needing an upgrade, you can trust Interstate Garage Doors to get the job done right. And hey, they're not just experts in garage doors, they're also experts in giving back to the community, sponsoring podcasts like Tracks and Tackle. Are you ready to experience the Interstate difference for yourself? If so, here's a little something extra for our loyal podcast listeners. Use promo code Tracks and Tackle when you contact Interstate so they know you heard about them here. Just visit igdoors.com today to get an estimate or request service, or give them a call at 717-263-3150. Don't wait. Take the first step towards a smoother, more secure garage today. Hey, yo, folks, welcome back to Tracks and Tackle. We got a good one for you here today. We're going to be talking about hunting traditions. We're literally recording the week of Thanksgiving, and in Pennsylvania, where we're from, that's a big week because it's obviously a holiday week, but it's the day or two before the PA rifle opener. And so if you're listening to this, it will be past the opener, and our plan here is to roll this episode out while everybody's hunting, because that's what we plan on doing as well. We want to be hunting, and so we're recording this week, and we're going to talk traditions, because the PA rifle opener for whitetail deer is a big traditional. It might as well be a holiday as big as Thanksgiving for some of us. So I got myself, the Arrow Eagle, on tonight, and joining us once again is Chris Bookman here with 3B Outdoors. Hey, Chris, how you doing tonight?
Good, brother. How you doing? Glad to be back.
I'm good, man. Long day at work, holiday. It's a short week, so we're trying to record in addition to knock out as much work as we can, on our 40-hour-a-week job, and then spend some time with family. And certainly there's a lot to be grateful for. But thanks for hopping on tonight and spending a little bit of time here this evening with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Yeah. So I think we got some other guys that might join a little bit later, but for right now, you got Chris and you got myself, and I sort of want to set the stage. I remember last year, the week prior to the PA opener, I was just I was sitting down. I recorded an episode by myself, really descriptively talking about that orange army that goes out
Yep.
on the opening day in PA. So a big time bow hunter. I bow hunt because the weather's a little bit nicer. It's not as harsh, and there's definitely not as many guys out in the forest or in the woods as is on the opening day. And I remember saying this last year, opening day and like the day or two after are like killer. You got everybody and their brothers in the woods, but there's a ton of guys out there that after that, like first or second day, it really dies down. Some guys have that luck, that stroke of success first day or two, but you know everything dies down after the first couple of days, and you don't have as many guys. But it's the build up, the week leading up to hunting season being released. I mean, it might as well be a holiday here in PA.
Yeah.
And you grew up Maryland hunting. I don't know if it's the same down there, but I'd imagine it's similar, right?
Yes. Yeah. Very similar. The only difference is Pennsylvania. I went to a private school in Pennsylvania. Again, those that listen, I lived real close, grew up just below the Mason-Dixon line in Maryland. And I went to a private school in Pennsylvania, and all growing up, the first Monday, you got off of school.
Yeah.
They closed school for that. And that was the rumor, whether it was true or not. They always said, "Hey, no one's going to come to school today anyway, so we'll just close it for that," and then they justified like that. So then they moved it to Saturday. How do you feel about that? Were you one of the traditionalists that?
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I love the time, and you would dig this. I love the time at the cabin that weekend before. So if we would go up on Saturday, you hang out Saturday, you hang out Sunday, and it's time in camp with the guys.
Yes.
Before Monday, which was opening day. Back, growing up, Monday was the opener. And then recently, not too long ago, they shifted to the Saturday. I also appreciate, because I'm an advocate for guys getting outdoors and hunting. I can appreciate the guy that doesn't have as many days of vacation to take, getting that third weekend, that third Saturday, and now they have some select Sunday hunting. I can appreciate that, to get other guys opportunities, because I'm going to hunt. I'm going to save my PTO. I'm going to use my days off to go hunting.
Absolutely.
But not everybody has that opportunity like I do. And so anything that's going to help the sport, and create space for guys to get out and enjoy being outdoors and take part of this time honored tradition. So I'm not against starting on Saturday for like my beliefs, because my beliefs are I want as many people to be involved as possible. Our numbers are dying and going down as far as hunters go. But personally, I love that starting on Monday, because I got that build up, playing cards, throwing darts, sitting around the fire, eating breakfast at the breakfast table with the guys at camp, staying up way too late, like all that stuff that we enjoy. You don't get that as much, because now once hunting season starts, there's no sitting down at the breakfast table at our camp anyway.
Yeah.
We pack a sandwich and we're out the door before light, and we got to hike to get to where we're going. But what's your take on it? I mean, I know everybody's got a different opinion on that.
I'm a traditionalist. I actually don't hunt deer in Pennsylvania very much at all, if ever. I think it's cool, like you just said. That's a cool opportunity. I have friends though that, just like you just said, they go to little hunting camps and local hunting camps, and they just refuse to do it on that Saturday. They're going to go hang out and party, drinking some adult beverages, cold beverages all day, throwing darts, like you said, sitting around the fire laughing, and they want the purest heart of them wants to go on that Monday, and that's cool. Do your thing. You're growing up in Maryland. where we hunted, like you nailed that on the head. It was like Christmas Day. It was like a holiday. You got people heard me talk about it. It was, when I was a kid, we'd lay our clothes out like the 3 or 4
Hmm.
nights before, and that was before we could afford nice stuff. So it's all the layers of stuff. Here's my base layers, my sweatpants, here's my coveralls. And I didn't have insulated coveralls. Like, they were just the camo tree bark that you
Yeah,
threw over
right.
sweatpants and jeans, and just exciting, man. And as a kid, I never appreciated it as much for the hunting part as like, okay, my brothers are doing it, my dad's doing it, my grandfather does it, my uncle is doing it. Like, you just did it because that's what people did, and to get a deer was like the best thing that day. It was just the coolest thing. And I've said before, I said on the one we just recorded uh, uh, last week, my mom still gets a kick out of packing us a lunch from Thanksgiving leftovers. You
No
can't
doubt.
you can't beat that, right?
That's part of the tradition, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I talked to you guys last about our family hunting journal, and I was reading through that because I'm transcribing it over onto the computer and making it legible. And God, some of the handwriting's so awful you can't read it. It's like I'm guessing on what some of these sentences and phrases that people have written down over the years. But one of the things was very early on into the property that we owned. Um, my mom would go up, mom and dad, and my mom hunted. She wasn't really like a hunter, but she got her license every year and she would go out on opening day, and she would just, that's what we did as guys, and so she enjoyed it. But most of the time she would like probably hang out at camp, you know what I mean? But I was reading in the journal, like, man, the troops are getting spoiled by mom's cooking because mom was there to cook.
that's cool.
And it's completely different now, and we eat good, we eat good meals. We probably don't eat as healthy as we should
Yeah,
at
no doubt.
camp.
Yeah,
One of the rules that we have at our cabin is you don't complain about the cooking or you become the cook. You become camp cook.
all right, all right.
So a couple of weeks ago, and my brother, he does a lot of the cooking, and he's fed us well for many years. But I want to say that earlier this season, he made something and it was just not on point.
Yeah, okay.
And we all ate. Nobody said nothing. He says, "You guys must be real troopers." He's like, "Because I know this is not on point." He said, "But nobody's saying anything about it."
I'd
So
be down.
those are some of the little things at camp, where we all have these different traditions that we carry on, and how we behave and how it happens. So you just at our camp, we try not to complain about the cooking.
Yeah. I was watching Yellowstone the other night with my wife, and we were talking about it. And she said, "Does this ever make you want to be a cowboy?" And I said, "Not really, but I'd love to be the guy that's out there cooking for them. That guy that's on there that's actually a cook in real life.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I'd be down for that, just out there with these guys and making all kinds of stuff. I love to cook, so that's my jam right there. Uh,
love it, love
so
it. So like, talk to me a little bit about like the significance of the opener. Like, what, it doesn't really matter what state it's in, and this is kind of cool because you bring a different perspective
right.
than what some of the other guys that would come on the show here with me and talk about this. But it's really a big deal,
Yes.
and
Yes.
from your perspective, like let's talk through the tradition part of just the preparation.
Yeah.
I was leading up to this. I was just thinking like last year when I was doing an episode the week before camp,
Yeah.
what are the things that we do to prepare? Like laying out our clothes as kids.
Yeah.
Um, what do you guys do?
So we're recording this Tuesday night before Thanksgiving. So the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we were talking about this before we recorded. We always go down to
Right.
our family property, shoot the rifles in, make sure everything's cool. Maryland, you can bait for deer. So we make sure the corn, the salt licks, and stuff like that are out. We're on a mission. We're going to shoot the biggest deer. You guys have heard me talk about that. Anybody's followed 3B. We're going to shoot the biggest one on the property that we know is there. But the opening day, we're filling trucks. We're trying to get
Yep.
food, do that. And part of that is tradition too. Like, we want to get in the family picture. Okay, everybody got one. It's only happened one time that all my brothers and my dad got a deer on the same day down there. Somebody usually draws a short straw, and doesn't get one or passed one up, or something happened where it didn't line up. But getting the rifles and stuff shot in, making sure the stands are all good one last time. Especially for me, that's more into the waterfowl hunting now and does deer hunt. My dad, I've mentioned before, is a big time archery hunter, so he's down there all the time. But my younger brother is a big time bow hunter, so he's down the property all the time. But for me, sometimes it's only the third or fourth time I've seen the stand or checked everything out. And we have it in CRP grass, so we're going to mow some trails and some shooting lanes for different things. So we're going to check out the property. But sentimental wise, growing up, my grandfather had farms. I was fortunate enough to have that, and they were working farms. And the main farm had like a Morton building, an aluminum sided building.
Yep.
And it had his office in it, and it looked like what's behind you. He had floor to ceiling deer horns and mounts and Polaroids everywhere. But he also had a microwave in there. He had a little, rabbit ear TV in there, and a shower, full shower, and a bathroom. And we could you could keep all your stuff there and just get dressed when you got there. But there was always, you'd get there and you never beat him there. Never. And he didn't live there. He lived down the road from his farm. He didn't want to live on the farm he worked on. He wanted to be able to go home from it.
I get that. Yeah.
And but he had this office, and we would try to beat him there. And every time you get there, you'd have coffee brewing, the heater on for you in there, radio or TV on. So that was really cool. And we'd all figure out where we're going to go. And being in the part of the property that it was on, it was really nice too, because if you needed to step out for a minute, you could come down, 5 or 10 minute walk, get warm, get washed up, go to the bathroom,
Yeah, you had the options, right?
Yeah, so that was really cool. And, he passed away about 10 years ago now, and just family stuff, we've lost that. In fact, actually, it's almost like I feel like the divorced dad going to see his kids at soccer, because I have to drive by that property to go to our other farm and stuff like that. So I don't even look. I just look straight ahead when I'm driving by it, But a lot of cool memories down there. I got pictures of my little boys when they were little, putting the camo paint on down there, taking them out in the morning. And then you fast forward to that where we're at now. My sons are going with me this year for the first time that they're actually hunting. So
you guys are face painters then?
I don't do it for any other reason than it's fun.
It's cool.
There, and I'm that guy that I'll forget I have it on. And we do it for duck hunting sometimes. We'll get a cork, a little tip. If you get a wine cork, it's wood, and you burn it, that will go on you better than face paint, and it washes off way easier. But I've forgotten a million times that I've had it on, and I'm going to like Subway, or I'm trying to get into stuff like that, and they're like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I have my face all painted up." But yeah, what's up, dude?
What's up, Matt?
How's
Matt's
it going,
joining.
guys?
Yeah,
I made it.
How you doing? How you doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing not enough to keep everybody happy, but we're doing enough.
You're never going to keep everybody happy, man.
Right.
Well, hey, it's good to see you. We're just talking through, tradition and basically the rifle opener. It's upon us,
Yeah, it is.
In Pennsylvania, it might as well be a holiday. And Chris was just telling us about, like, on opening day, how they would all like go down to his grandpa's. He had a pole building, and nobody could beat his grandpops was always there first, that sort of stuff. I remember now, not so much on opening day. And Buck, we'll let you get into this a little bit, because you can tell some stories, I'm sure. But like for us, like, we would all go sit, like growing up, we would all go sit, like Monday through Wednesday. And, usually by Wednesday, it was time to gather the troops. So we did some still hunting the first couple of days, give everybody a chance to shoot their deer, if they were on a deer or something like that. But then, come midweek, we'd get a gang together, and we did a lot of driving for deer. And we would always meet over at Matt's dad's house. And it was likewise. Yeah, it's similar to what you were talking about, Chris. But Matt, why don't you describe those days, because what we really are trying to get at is, what makes the the PA rifle season so special?
I think it's the camaraderie more than anything. The
Right.
coming together, and we did all that with a group of all the driving and stuff that we talk about. We did that with a group of guys that we were all neighbors or family or friends. But some of them, that was the only time of year we really got together. Everyone together, and no matter how many times, and Ron is a prime example. He moved away. He moved to the other county, so the
It's like
outcast
the other
guy.
side of the world.
They still might as well have been the other side of the world to some of them guys. Yeah. But regardless, whenever you came back, you fit right back in. It's just like you never missed a day. You never missed a beat. That group was that, I don't, tight knit. I don't know if that's the word to use, but it was in tune with each other. That you didn't have to be there every day. You still knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what was going on. We all had a good time. There's like anything else. There was this guy got upset about this or that guy upset about this. It happens. It happens in every camp. It happens in every setting of life. But for the most part, you put all the BS of life behind you and the world behind you, and you went hunting.
Yeah. Okay.
You got 2 weeks to get it done.
Yeah, guys would start rolling, and like as Ron hinted at, we did it from Dad's house. That was home base, so to speak, or camp at that point. That was the 2 weeks that my mother just totally really hated it, because by 7 o'clock in the morning there was going to be 10 to 15, sometimes 20 men in the kitchen, drinking coffee and telling stories. And we were never, and especially if it was cold, no one was in a hurry to get started.
Yeah.
It always took somebody. My grandfather was known for being there last, getting there late. He was never in a hurry. And he was known for the kickstart, because he would be the guy that would come in and he would tell you, "I just seen 4 deer run across this field. We got to go."
Yeah.
And then now everybody's ready to go. We went from sitting here all day till there's guys running out the door. Like, all right, well, we know there's deer in the woods. Let's go.
How good is the sun comes up on that first day? Like,
that's hard to beat.
Just washes away, and you're like, all right.
Any sunrise. I mean, I do a lot of archery hunting, and I'm not a big morning hunter.
Yeah.
But there is something about being in the stand and watching the sunrise, and being there as the woods comes to life, so to speak.
Yeah.
As that sunrise.
I always give my little brother a hard time, because I hunt at the top of a really big hill, and he hunts at the bottom, and it's like a marshy, swampy kind of area. And
you get the sunrise before him.
Oh man, it's a drastic temperature change. In fact, a couple weeks ago, when I was down mowing some of the CRP and some of the brush off, it was like a warmer day. It was October still, and it was warmer. It was probably 60, 70 degrees on the hill. And when I got down to where he hunts, it was in the morning, but there was still frost on the ground down there. That's the he'll text me, "I'm freezing down here," and I'm like, "Man, I just took my coat off. It feels nice up here in the sun."
Yeah. Where I'm sitting on most days, and if you follow this show at all, you've heard Brady and I talk about this, but our cabin is maybe 200-300 yards from the ridge of a mountain, and our stands are up toward the ridge, right? So if you get on one side of the ridge, the wind can just hammer you in the face.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the ridge, you'll feel like you're in an incubator. But when it comes to playing into the sunlight and the sunrise, that backside of the mountain, where we refer to as the backside, it gets the sunrise first, right? And so if you're on the front side of the hill, you're probably not getting that sunlight, like that direct sun hitting you, until 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But on the front side of the hill, you get the most beautiful sunset.
Oh wow, yeah.
So you get to trade off on what you want or not. And when you're on the top or the ridge of a mountain, just looking down through the valleys and things like that, I mean, it's really a masterpiece to sit and look at that. So glad you brought that up.
Good. Yeah, thank you, Rob.
Yeah. You know, just talking about camaraderie and that sort of stuff. Chris, you hunted. You say you grew up hunting with your brothers and
Hmm.
your dad and stuff, and you had that tight knit group.
Yes.
Um, you know, we kind of had that too, and I think that goes for like most guys, like
Hmm.
most and gals. You know, guys and gals out there. There's a when you're old enough to come along, you sort of get to be a tag along.
Yeah.
And in our group, we always took care of that younger hunter and got them positioned so that they'd have some success.
Right.
You know, at one point in time, it was us, and we would be placed for success. But you know, once you reached a certain age, it was all right. Now you need to do the work and make room
He
for the
became the
next.
mule.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, I don't know how you know what how the age order is, you know, within your family, but you know, that's what it sort of looked like in our tribe.
Yeah.
You
Same
know,
thing.
we tried to get the young people opportunities so that they would enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. Very similar. You know, I'm the middle. I'm the middle brother. Um, my older brother's actually quite a bit older. He's 11 years older than me, and then my dad and stuff. But it's the same thing. And that
Yeah,
translates to they would get us set up over here, or even sometimes sacrifice their own time. You know, being a kid, it's not like I could drive myself there. So sometimes they would sit with me the first day, and then they were going to come back Monday or whatever the next whatever day it was, you know, and things like that. I'm actually, as we're talking, my mind's racing because I'm going to take both my boys on opening day. My oldest boy is going for his first time, and I'm trying to figure out if he's going to go by himself, if I'm
hmm
going to drop him off somewhere, or if we're going to hunt together in a blind, or what. And I'm going to come back in the afternoon and get my second son and take with me. He doesn't like the cold, and I think it's going to be a little breezy and colder on Saturday, so we'll have to
it's gonna
see.
be real cold.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm definitely going to be sitting up on that hill in the sun, you know, watching stuff. But that's where my mind's at right now. So talking about camaraderie, though, like I think I've asked you this before, Ron. In Maryland, where I grew up, we had check stations for deer as a kid, and that was like the coolest thing. If you got one, and I've talked about it before, but did you guys ever experience anything like that?
I mean, you definitely had the guy um, that would, you know, you leave the tailgate down
Yeah,
or, you know, have the buck propped up, you know, up over the tailgate and driving it around, showing it off.
yeah,
You know, we didn't have check stations or
yeah,
anything as far as that goes, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of, you know, slow rolling through town,
yeah,
showing off the buck, you know, stopping down at the diner and
yeah,
seeing the guys or wherever the local
yeah.
social place would be.
I remember
But
my
yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's the same point as, you know, what I think you were getting at is going to the check station and showing it off your buck and that sort of
yeah,
thing, right?
and it was exciting to see there was always going to be a bigger one.
Yep.
There to be some hammers there, and again, and I've said this before on your podcast and some other podcasts, but like where I grew up, the check station was also at a taxidermy shop. So there was always hammer deer hanging there. You'd see your
hmm
cousins that you know hunted somewhere else. You see people, and again, as a kid, um, killing a deer, everybody would shake your hand. You know, you were part of the tribe. Then you're becoming a man, whatever, like that. And then it was cool to go into the shop and check out taxidermy stuff. And they always in Maryland they weighed them too.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh, you're not weighing this thing. It's like, nope, you're checking in. We're going to put it on a scale. So that was always really cool to see all that stuff. And it
So
was
what
really,
was your first kill like, Chris? You know, I know you're like you say you're not huge deer hunter
yeah.
like we are, but I mean that
So growing,
that is part of the deal, you know. Once you get that first kill, you get the handshakes, you feel like it's a
yeah,
rite of passage.
right. So growing up on that farm I talked about earlier, my grandfather had the old, just plywood, 10, 12 foot tall box stands. He built these boxes. I'll post a picture later. Had a roof on it and just slid the door in. And he hunted with me on the junior day. That was always the Saturday before Thanksgiving when I grew up. And we went out, and it was just probably an 80-pound doe, if that.
Yeah.
You know, yearling doe came out and presented a shot, and I rolled it over, and you know, then you're in. And I remember calling my dad, and him hooting and hollering in the background. He couldn't go. My dad's a preacher, and that was when they had that evening they had their church Thanksgiving dinner, so he
Okay.
wouldn't go. But then, my dad actually stopped part of the service because my grandfather dropped me off up there to come out and see the deer in the parking lot of this place. So it was really cool to do that. Actually, and then talking about that taxidermy shop where we checked them in, I have a cool. My grandfather, and my dad got a lamp made out of it, one of those kind of tacky deer
Yeah,
lamps.
yeah, yeah.
And, uh, that was really cool. So I actually didn't kill a buck for a couple years, and I
I think
kind of
that's normal, you know?
I kind of hinted at it before too. Like I wasn't as into it as my brothers. I just went because they went, and it was like the thing you did.
Yeah.
And we're out here with dad and stuff. And I had shots and opportunities, but outside the first day or two, I didn't go. I killed a lot of does, a couple button bucks like everybody does. But it wasn't until I was probably 19 or 20 that I killed my first really nice buck. Um, but I think that adds to it. I think that's what builds you up and, makes you better for whatever you want to apply
Yeah.
it to.
So when you jumped in here, Matt, when you jumped on, we were talking about like that preparation for opening day, because we're in that week right now. And when this podcast publishes, we'll be in the system, like we'll be in that first week, right? So, but is there anything that you do leading up to opening day, like a ritual or tradition, or what do you do to get ready?
Right now, it's just a gear check. I mean, I'm a little behind the eight ball this year, especially because normally I've been shooting. I've had the rifles out, been shooting and doing. Been at the range.
Yep.
But my kids have drug us so into archery that my rifle hasn't even been out of the closet since last year. The kids' rifles, they're ready to go. I got them ready to go, but my gun has not been out yet. So I'm going to be one of those guys this year on Thanksgiving Day, shooting his
Yeah.
rifle in the morning. I'm going to be the guy in line at the gun range, making that happen. But, most of the time it's just a gear check and checking tree stands, just double checking everything, making sure, you know, that last check, last check in with everything. But, the kids have changed the process, so to speak.
Yeah, and what is that? I mean, certainly it changes like priority, it's getting the kids ready and make
Yeah.
sure that they
Yeah.
have when they're younger, as they get older, like your boy's a little bit older and he can do a lot of that on his own. Like he's done it a little bit.
Right.
What is that transition like for you?
Um, Hard actually. I got my daughter, and, I hunt with my daughters now, but it was kind of hard being like, yeah, go out there on your own kind of thing. Harder than it sounds. You'd think, oh, you want to go out there by yourself and be in the woods, but it's harder to let go that time with them in the woods because that's some of the only time you get, anymore. That's just one-on-one time, and with
No doubt.
the crazy schedules we all lead. So, some of it's worry too because yeah, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, and I know the things I was doing and the way I was hunting when I was 16 years old, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's just the spitting image, like so.
Right. Sure.
There's a little worry. So my wife was
It's
actually out
funny.
today and set up a blind with the youngest daughter. So
Mhm.
it helps that my wife's into it too. So there's a lot of preparation for deer season right now in my house. Um,
So it's funny because, you think like the mind of a teenager sometimes is, and Chris was just talking about, his oldest boy is going to go out and he's thinking, do I set him by himself? Do I sit with him in a blind? How do I approach that? I think back to when I started, and I remember my dad sitting with me, and like those are some of like the greatest memories.
Yeah.
Um, I think a lot of guys that are listening, out there in the hunting family, the people that relate to this, when dad's not around anymore, grandpa's not around anymore, we think of that, we think of the times that they spent with us. And so you're making those memories with your kids when they're young.
Yeah,
And
I
I remember
remember.
sitting
I
with
still
my
remember
dad,
hunting. Yeah, I remember hunting with my dad too. Oh,
but I also remember like very early on, my brother, similar to you, Chris, he's 13 years older than me. So I was just tagging along. But I remember him taking me out, like the very first time I ever went hunting. Now, this was bow hunting. It wasn't gun season, but I ever went. And you may have heard me tell the story before, but he took me into the woods. I knew somewhat where I was, but I didn't, like, I knew the way that I walked in, and I knew how to get out if I needed to get out in case of an emergency. But he basically like put me in a stand, got me up a tree like 12, 15 feet in the air, and then walked away. Now he knew where I was and he had an eye on me, but from my perspective of, a young, 11, 12-year-old kid, I just got dropped, those shows you see, on the outdoor channel. Like, I just got dropped and I was told to sit still and hang tight.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we do that with our kids as much. Certainly it's a different time.
Yeah.
But you had to learn.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because at my job, I'm a trainer and an instructor. And when I was there, we got dropped off like that. Here's how you learn. Here's your stuff. Go do it. So now that I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, we're going to do this a little different. But then I also think, like, did that make you how you are? Did that shape you? Did that time to be the man, right?
Everything shapes our character.
Right.
Yeah. And part of this hunting deal is, it is that rite of passage. It is that becoming a young man, if we're going from boy to man, or going from, a young girl to a woman. When you have success and you're shaking hands and everybody's giving you the attaboy or the attagirl, and you feel like you're part of something.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it so special to us. Like, for those of us that have experienced that, it's hard to explain it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. I had the same thing like you were saying, Matt. Like last year, the first day, my sons came in the afternoon again. And my oldest boy wasn't fully hunting. It had his license and had killed a deer on the junior day with my dad. But he went to he went to a double stand with my little brother. And they walked away, and I went up to where I was going to hunt. And I came down at the end of the day, and here comes this kid. Didn't even look like a kid. Here comes my son walking with the gun over his shoulder, camo, and it took me back. I'm like, that's my son. Like, like he belongs here now, and he was so pumped to be part of the group. And, you guys know how special it felt for you guys, and you get to experience that. And, then you get to listen to all those Luke Combs songs about hunting with his kids now and get all teary-eyed.
It's different when you're a father, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things that, in preparation that I always, and this is a learned behavior as well. Like I said, I sort of followed in my brother's footsteps on a lot of things. He taught me a lot of things about hunting, but that day before the opener, he would pick out a shell. He'd have his clip for his gun that he shot a 270. I shoot a 30-06. But he would pick out that first bullet that's going in the chamber and carry that around with him all day. And so that's something that I do. That's something that my nephews do. Like, we all do it now. Yeah. You pick out and you just want to rub a little bit of the luck off on that shell, because it really only takes one.
Right.
So that's like kind of like a traditional thing that we did in our family that we've passed on down to the next generation. You guys got any type of rituals or traditions like that?
To add on to that lucky shell, though, Ron, I can also remember on about Thursday, your brother and my uncles, my dad going, it's time to switch the lucky shell, and emptying their magazine out and getting one out of the bottom of the magazine, saying maybe this is the problem, when they hadn't seen a deer.
Recycle them sometimes. You just got to shuffle through.
Well, this one ain't the lucky one. We got to pick another one.
I do something similar when I duck hunt. I have my wader pocket. I got 3 or 4 shells that if I don't shoot, those are the ones that are going in first. I'm putting this one in, And sometimes if I get real frustrated, I'm going to mix up the shot size. If I can't knock her down or hit, I'm going to put a different shot size in. But do stuff like that, I've gone from taking a big backpack full of stuff on deer hunt to just a little tiny, almost like a shoulder bag with just my phone and my coat and snacks. Not much more that I prepare for deer hunting than that. I'll get into another story when you guys are done this about stuff I do prepare for. I can tell it now if you want, or we can go around the horn if you.
No, I mean, I'll go ahead and share your story. I mean, I think like for me, when I think of this time of year, it's balancing the excitement, the anticipation, anticipation. And that's why that Monday versus Saturday or Saturday start. Yeah. There was a lot more build up to the Monday start when we had the opening day on Mondays.
Absolutely. Yes.
And, we all handle this differently, but it's the balancing act of excitement and anticipation for expectation, because opening day isn't always hot and heavy. I've gone out and I've had it completely quiet, and it's gotten like that a lot in the last couple of years too. So
mine last year, I saw one deer in the woods last year, and I usually shoot the first deer I see. Like I've told you guys, the little deer popped his head out, and I actually said, "Look at that little baby." And I sat back in my chair, and then that little baby turned his head and had 3 points on each side. By the time I got situated to trot it away. But something that I do, going back to what we were talking about first, is, when growing up, we had the farm with the building where we could come down and get out of the weather and everybody get together. Something that I do now, I'll throw all the lawn chairs I got in my truck, the coolers and stuff like that. And when if we break for lunch, I got all that stuff set up for when everybody's coming down. We can spot to sit and BS. If everybody does kill a deer, we can sit around and talk about it while we're skinning them, stuff like that. So that's real important to me to have that little bit of, I know we can text and I know we can call each other, but just that little face-to-face time. Everybody on our property, we have 120 acres that we own. Everybody scatters through the corners, right? So we all kind of meet together sometimes, especially if it's cold and rainy. My dad, he ain't sitting out there all day. He's the one that would yell at us as kids for not sitting there all day, but he's the one that's going to, I'm cold, let's go eat, let's go have some turkey sandwiches, right? So I get all that set up for everybody, and we hang out in the sun for a little bit. So
yeah, we usually get started in the morning, and then mid-morning or whatever, you got some guys that are coming back into camp, warming up and getting lunch, and then going back out in the afternoon. And I did that for a lot of years, but now that my nephews are getting older and stuff, and they're wanting to stay out all day, I'm sitting out for longer all day hunts, that sort of thing as well. Plus I'm going deeper into the woods. So I don't want to walk the whole way out and the whole way back. So I pack my lunch and take my snacks and try to make a day of it. And with any luck, a good hunt for me is a 7:15 a.m. kill. And, then you're worried about processing meat, getting it back to camp, and you're not sitting out there all day waiting for last light.
7:15 kill and 7:20 Little Debbie Christmas tree or brownie, right?
Got to celebrate. Yeah, you got to celebrate.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is always fun. I know that's an important time of year. What message would you have to give to anybody that's out there in the hunting family listening? If you had to leave like one message for them on your thoughts on what this means, because we're talking about traditions, but like the real meaning of the PA opener.
Yeah. For me, just the brotherhood, just like you guys with the camaraderie and the brotherhood. It's something that, again, you've hinted at too. It's fading. It's going away. And sometimes it seems like there's a lot more hunters, but at the same time, it's not. We're losing campgrounds. We're losing farms. We're losing places to go. Again, not trying to be self-serving. That's why I started what I do, so I could bring that back and bring that feeling back, and taking pictures and hanging out by the fire and setting up and having sandwiches. So just bring that. And just, when we hunt, if I hear my brother shoot, hey man, you good? You need me to get down? I'll come help you. My nephew, hey, you need help? I got you. My dad's the same way. So just that brotherhood, self-sacrificing brotherhood. I think
that's a real good point.
Yeah, that's what's going to carry on. So
nobody wants to hunt with a guy or gal that's self-serving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all they're worried about is their own success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But if you got somebody and Buck, you've like we've been this way for one another. You know what I mean? Like if you shot a deer and I'm with you and we're hunting together, like I'm the first guy in there helping you pull that thing out. And
Yeah.
vice versa. Like, sometimes we had some, how do I want to say this on the podcast? We've experienced there's been some gray area and some of the deer that we've gotten, over the years when we were younger, you know what I mean? Because we were hunting farms and they wanted deer killed. But long story short, the reality of it is, that camaraderie, those guys that you link shields with when you go in and you do this, like Buck's gone into cornfields and drug deer out with me when other guys were getting in the truck and driving away, not wanting to be part of the group. And, those are why we have lasting relationships like we have today, because we've sort of gone through the trenches with one another.
Yeah. My little brother and I, he's 3 years younger than me. We're tight. And I don't know if I talked about it or not before. We have a thing called UCH, unconventional hunting. And he's like, he doesn't see deer, and he does it with ducks too. And he actually just did it with a pheasant. If he doesn't see the deer in like the first hour, he's like, I got to get up. I'm going to push the hill out to you.
Mm-hmm.
But every year, doesn't matter if we're duck hunting, if we're goose hunting, if we're down the Eastern Shore, he'll get up and walk around and he'll shoot a deer or he'll shoot a duck. We had our annual pheasant hunt the other week, and some of the birds get away. He's walking back to the truck because we do a cookout afterwards. He's going to fire the grill up. He's walking back to the truck, and one of these roosters jumps out in front of him, and he just shoots it. Like that's my brother. I actually have it tattooed on me, and I have a sign in my basement, unconventional hunting. So we've killed a lot of deer like that. But that's the type of the camaraderie and brotherhood my nephews have, my brothers have. One person's success is the whole group's success. That's how
I think that's it. One person's successful. It's, we celebrate as a group.
Yeah. I've trained for my nephew. Nephew made a rough shot the other year on a deer that was moving. And we tracked the deer for probably a quarter mile, just did circles. We should have just left it in hindsight. And it actually ended up dying 30 yards from my tree stand that I started in. But, it was a cool memory to have together. And I was proud of him for not giving up on it. And we found it was a cool memory. So I'll let you guys talk. I've been talking the whole time. Sorry.
You're doing a fine job, Chris. You're doing a fine job.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Stories are what hold people's attention, honestly. Yeah. So, I mean, I love hearing that. I love hearing that stuff about, one person is successful. Yeah. Everybody's happy. Everybody's celebrating and stuff.
Sometimes I think that's what's missing with some of today's sportsmen too.
Yeah.
The day, Ron's touched on it. You touched on it, Chris. I remember when you had a buck on your truck or you had a buck hanging on the meat pole, guys just pulled in and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Because they seen bucks on the meat pole at your camp, and they said, "Hey man, I've seen you got a deer," and they just wanted to stop and see that deer,
right?
And share in the success, shake your hand, and
hear the story,
or hear the story.
Yes.
A lot of that's what's missing, I think, with some sportsmen today. I mean, if there would be a message I'd want to share, it's enjoy someone else's success.
Yes.
It'll make your life so much happier. It really will. There's just and I've seen it with my own kids, and people we're around too. With them successes aren't shared as not everyone's happy because you killed the deer or she killed the deer or he killed the deer, and that wears off on you after a while, and it wears on you as a person, wears on you as a sportsman, an outdoorsman. Enjoy the hunt, enjoy the successes, enjoy the highs and lows. I used to get that way myself sometimes, but man, I'm the first one to congratulate anybody. And Ron, I mean, there was years I drug out and gutted deer that I didn't touch. I mean, there was days I was covered in blood from gutting deer that I never pulled a trigger. And drug deer out for other guys. And it was a good time.
Yeah,
we enjoyed it. We enjoy doing that
Yeah.
sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and I still
Yeah.
enjoy doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like anybody
Oh
in
yeah.
my group is
You know,
successful, just like you guys were saying about like, I'm the first guy to like, let's go track it together. Let's pull it out
yeah.
together. And,
Yeah, no, I
'cause
do bring my boy along now. I don't do the gutting and dragging, but I'll be there to help you find it and shake your hand, hold your gun for you.
Yeah,
But hey, Junior, get a hold of that thing and get that out of here.
I think that's all like primal. That's all back into Native American Viking, that stuff.
yeah.
Celebrate as the group. I mean, that's a victory for everybody. My dad actually signed up for, I don't know if it was Wounded Warrior or something like that for veterans. They took him out hunting, and that's just what they wanted people to do. They had someone take the guy out hunting. They just need somebody to drag the deer, push the
Mhm.
deer drives, or gut the deer for these guys when they came back. And my dad's done
Awesome.
that. That's a really cool thing. So, shared success is a cool thing. We actually, with 3B, have a club within the club. And this is more for waterfowl, and I might do this for deer too, but we have a thing called First Drake Hunt Club. And because that's what people did for us to get us out there, I grew up deer hunting like you guys. I didn't duck hunt too much, and when I got into it, it just hooked me, and I wouldn't have got into it without these other guys. So we actually started. We have stickers and we got flags. Our goal was to take other people out and get them their first birds, and
Mhm.
that shared success. It's so cool to see someone's look on their face. So if you ever see that sticker, that's what that means. That's a really cool thing that we do, and I've sent them all over the country for guys that's taking their wives out that we know are girlfriends or sons.
Sure.
You're in the club now, and going back full circle, even if you're older. So we talked about the check stations, just being part of the tribe, part of the group. Now, hey, I'm in this. That's really cool. It goes a long way.
Just
And,
getting to come along. Like, I mean, I remember when I was younger and I was too young to hunt, but I remember getting to go upstate was a
yeah,
big deal for me, because that's what my brother did. And, just being included to go along for the
Yeah.
weekend, even though I had to stay back at home at camp,
yeah,
didn't bother me. I was just happy to be part of it.
yeah. I think I said this on the very first time I was on one of your episodes, but like sharing your passion with someone can go so far. And years ago, my wife's little brother, who he's kind of the difference that we just said, she's 11, 12 years older than he is. I was driving him back and forth to school, picking him up for sporting events, and I had movie soundtracks, like classical symphony music
Yeah.
soundtracks on. And I played that for him, and it impacted him so much that I didn't even realize at the time that that's what he does now. He composes soundtracks, and he's been on movies on Netflix and Tubi and Amazon and stuff like that. So whether it's hunting or whatever, taking that little bit of time to share something with somebody can influence their whole life, change their course of.
You don't ever, you don't realize what seeds you're planting in other people. And
Yeah.
I think we're like the three of us, we're all big on passing on generational knowledge, tribal knowledge,
Yeah.
down to the next generation. And it's just like, somebody taught me how to gut a deer. Somebody taught me how to, follow the lines and the way that the meat and the muscles come together to butcher that deer so
Yeah.
that you get the meat out of the harvest the right way. Like passing that information along. I remember, Brady's not on here to share the story or whatever, but I remember one year, he shot a nice buck by himself and his dad wasn't around. His dad was always, there for him to help him process through those things. But one year his dad wasn't around. He was with me and he's getting a little bit older. And I didn't do it for him. I sat there, held the light, and I told him, what needed to be done. And he told me, he said he really appreciated me teaching him because a lot of times it's my dad does this for me to this day. He's like, let me show you something. And
Yeah.
he'll get in and he'll just do it for me versus teaching me what needs to be done. So passing that stuff along, you don't realize how much that impacts the person. You're planting seeds and
Yeah.
when you're teaching.
Yeah. My dad and grandfather said, let me learn you.
Yes.
Something. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys. Well, listen, I hope that you guys are having a great season. I wish you the best of luck in your hunting season. Buck, are you hunting local or are you traveling?
Yeah, we stay local because of the kids this year. The girls the girls are a little hesitant about hunting in Potter County for whatever reason, so we're staying local because they got local doe tags, and they like to shoot the first thing that walks out, kind of thing. So,
Nothing wrong with that.
um,
Did we ask you what your thought is on the Saturday over Monday? Did we ask you that?
so yeah, I
He
mean,
came in late.
I got mixed opinions about all that. Some popular, some unpopular. Um, I get the tradition thing, and I understand all that because I've been part of hunting camps, and we did the hunting camp thing. But in the society we live in, the extra 2 days to get them kids out in the woods,
Yeah,
it's well worth it to me. You
yeah,
know, tradition or not, I understand the traditionalist people. I see their argument, and I'm not trying to discount it, but with a guy that has three young kids that are involved in different things,
yeah,
um, it just 2 more days of opportunity to get them
yeah.
kids out in the woods.
Well, you
Um,
guys probably correct me if I'm wrong too. The real traditionalists for that, they're not shooting the first one that walks by anyways. They're waiting for.
well, the real traditionalist, it's buck only too. It's not doe or buck. The
Yeah,
traditional, if you want to go back, you know, how traditional do you want to
Take me
be?
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
Let's go back. How traditional do we want to be? Do we want to get? Let's go back to 2 weeks of buck season, buck only, and
yeah.
then we'll go 3 days of doe season. How traditional do we want to be? Um, so you know, popular. Like I say, some people agree, some people disagree.
Yeah.
I can honestly see everyone's side of the argument. I do. For me personally, I lean on. I like the Saturday opener because of the 2 extra days.
Yeah, why
That
not?
Yeah.
I can get my kids out in the woods, experience the outdoors with them. Make some memories, share time. Create our own hunting stories.
Yeah,
You know that we likely wouldn't get to do.
yeah.
You know,
No doubt.
Once you start getting on that slippery slope of like tradition and this over that, it's a it's a
yeah,
it's a hard hill to climb back up on. Guys that whatever your opinion is, guys that don't like crossbows over compound bows, and then it's like, okay, well, if you're going to complain about that, then why don't you shoot a recurve bow? Then why don't
Yep.
you do this, or why don't you
right.
do an iron sight flintlock muzzleloader like Pennsylvania, So I'm all about let's go have fun, do your thing if that's what you want to do, and have fun.
Like I tell people all the time, hunt your hunt,
Right? Yeah.
hunt your hunt.
I,
So if you see a guy dragging a one horn 3 point out of the woods
Yeah.
and he's smiling and having a good time,
Yeah.
give
Hell
him a
yeah.
high five. Get a hold of the leg because it ain't got two handles, or give him a hard time about shooting without two handles,
Well, let me
whatever it is. And go on. So what if you wouldn't have shot that deer? You know
let me.
what? Let him hunt his hunt.
I'm going to make that to a sticker, by the way. I'll send you one. That's a cool phrase.
yeah. Hunt your hunt and enjoy
Yeah.
it for real.
Let me ask you both this real quick before we get off here. What is if you saw a certain deer in the woods, and I'll explain it with mine, that you would shoot over another one? I love to shoot a big battle worn one horn buck that's been fighting and bruising it up. I'll shoot that. It's gonna be hard over a big, pretty 10-point, but if I see that, that's the one I'm going for. And I got a couple of them on my walls downstairs. I want the bruiser. I want the UFC fighter. I want, Jorge Masvidal, Conor McGregor of the woods. That's what I want. What about you guys?
Well, text me on Monday because I'll be at our cabin,
It's gonna be
and I'll just remind me. I'll send you some pictures
okay.
of some decent, like really, I wouldn't say heavy horn, but nice. They weren't youngsters.
Okay.
One horn bucks that have been taken off the hill that we hunt.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can find the pictures and send them to you as well. Brady shot, I think 2 years in a row, 2 or 3 years ago, back, 4-point, like one side 4-point, other side broken off.
Yeah.
Back to back years. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
To see them hanging on the wall, up one above the other.
That's really cool.
For me, it's tough because I love seeing like horns on the wall.
Right.
Okay. I love being able to say, hey, I shot a nice, decent buck. 3-4 year old deer, ideally, right? But I even prioritize over that is I want something that's a tasty meat.
There you go.
Most of my meat, I'm eating the steaks as steaks,
Yeah.
and I'm grinding a lot of the rest of it into burger. I don't do a lot of roasts. I make jerky and we get bologna made and things like that out of it. So I want something that's going to be really like a 2-year-old deer. And
Yeah.
you don't get big 2-year-old deers,
No.
So I don't know, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's my preference.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I like a big old doe that's been around the block that you can take down. I mean, that's cool too, right? I mean, she's seen everything.
If she blows, she goes.
Yeah, you beat me to it, bro. Yeah.
Yep, man. That's there's nothing more frustrating than trying to hunt deer with mature doe walking around you,
Yeah.
because they've been there, they've seen it. That was the old joke when we drove. Ron's been part of it. If you don't let any of them live, they won't be none to tell the story to
There
the
you go.
rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to the last week's episode when we were recording, and Buck, you had made this statement in the show, about because I was telling a story about not wanting to go out in archery season because I had my eye on a buck and I didn't want to burn my buck tag, and Buck made this statement. He said, "Well, instincts are kicking,"
Yeah.
And so really the bottom line is if I'm in the woods and I got a tag and that deer comes through, I'm not letting many walk. That's just the way that I'm a meat hunter.
Right. That's the difference too from growing up in Maryland and hunting in Maryland, is they want deer dead in Maryland. There's no antler restriction. You can kill with the right tags. I think right now, you can kill a buck and 10 does with each tag. And then you can get an extra buck tag. So there's people that are out there and they do it, that are killing 30 some deer.
I need to find some landowner friends in Maryland.
Yeah, it's that they want them dead. They want them gone, dude.
I personally wouldn't go through that much meat, but I'm not opposed to giving meat away. You know what I mean? Like after I kill, I got this deer, hanging up behind me, this hide hanging up. That was from opening day. I got that burger in my freezer, and that's good because my wife doesn't eat it. I eat it, so when I want deer meat, I prepare it for myself. And anything else that I get, I'm sharing with my family, I'm feeding my friends, I'm giving roasts away. Cause we don't waste anything.
Heck yeah.
So Buck, what kind of deer is an ideal harvest for you?
The one that's there when I got time to shoot it. A guy told me a long time ago the best time to kill a buck's when you see him. So
Very
personally,
true.
I like a nice typical rack deer if I'm gonna be choosy about what I want. But I gotta agree with Chris a little bit. That bruiser, if they walk in together, the one that looks like he's been through the ringer too. That's he tells a better story on the wall.
Heck yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, than the majestic front page of bow hunter buck. Everybody's seen them, but them bruisers that got some mass and some character. Their racks tell a story, and you don't know the story, but you can surmise what some of that. When after he's on the ground and you realize, well, he's got his eye poked out and this is broke off, and they're cool. They're cool deer.
I think we're missing the element too. That depends on how cold it is sometimes.
Well, yeah,
7:15, man. Give me that 7:30 buck.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I'll tell you what. Call me here in about 14 days and ask me what my ideal deer looks like, and it'll be different.
For sure.
Be brown. It'll be brown and breathing kind of thing. So.
After the first couple of days, mine's green with lots of feathers on its head. So.
Well,
you're speaking.
I'm still waiting for. I'm waiting for you to call me and tell me where to be at what time, Chris. So we'll kill some ducks and some geese, and
I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, you tell me what time and when, where and when.
Yeah, let me like we just said, let me get through this first couple of days of rifle and Christmas and stuff, and then it's on, dude. I got you.
No doubt.
Everybody's mind's on deer hunting. It doesn't matter what else there is. like deer hunting's what is on the mind right now. That's
Yep.
It's that week, so,
yeah.
like I said, anybody that's listening to us right now, I hope you guys are doing great. What would be ideal for us is interaction. So tell us how your hunts are going, good, bad, and different. Every deer's got a story, every deer you see, there's a story that goes with it. So send us your pictures, send us your stories. We want to hear from you guys. I'm going to run through the socials here real quick. So you can get us at Tracks and Tackle, and you can also find us at Menser Outdoors. You can also find us at 3B_outdoors_club. And you can get us at any one of those 3 on our socials.
Yeah.
Find us, send us pictures. We want to celebrate what you guys are seeing out in the field as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Send us pictures. Send us your traditions. Start new traditions. Let us know what they are, and I'll steal them from you. I want new stuff. I like hearing new stuff and that type of thing, so we can send them. But let us know. That's really cool. I love hearing different things and stuff. I'm gonna text you guys a picture of this guy's buck he just killed in Indiana, and you guys might not want to hunt in Pennsylvania on Saturday.
Well, hey, talking about tradition real quick before we go, Ron, and you'll know him, a good friend of mine. We're talking about tradition and stuff. Wolfie, he put his first PA black bear on the ground yesterday.
Right on. Today's the last day, right?
Yeah, he's been chasing black bear upstate with his family as long as I can remember. Seeing that post yesterday that he finally got one on the ground, I felt the happiness for him,
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
Yep.
We're all out there. We're all trying to make a difference. We're all trying to make memories, and we want to share that experience with you guys. So, to you guys, appreciate you both, giving us a little bit of time. I know it's holiday week, and next week, I doubt we're going to be doing any recording because we're all going to be hitting it hard probably the next couple of weeks. So, this might be the last one posted for a while, but we will be back later in December to check in, and we got some really cool guests upcoming later in December as well. So looking forward to having them come on. And like I said, just continue to interact with us. We'll keep bringing you that fresh content. We just encourage all you guys out there to be safe, happy hunting, and stay wild.